welcome to the news. I am Saja Brito. Coming up this evening, the Director of Health Promotion and Education speaks to the FATO network following surge in COVID-19 cases in the country. Gambian students on government scholarship in Morocco say they have been left by the Gambian government to fend for themselves in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. And of course, my guest today is artist and activist Ali Baba Killer Ace Cham, who will be discussing the alleged tortures being perpetrated by the police anti-crime unit. But first, we'll begin with the newspapers. Let's take a look at what the Standard is saying today. Police accused of torture cover-up. Lawyer investigated for rape. Man accuses Gorgin Boob of taking his 250,000 euros. And man killed in driver's brawl. Assembly debate, Colonel Ndau Njai's proposed appointment. Let's take a look at some of these stories in detail. Police accused of torture and cover-ups. The Gambia police have come under heavy criticism from Gambians at home and abroad over allegations that a detainee was brutalized by the head of the anti-crime unit who subjected them to forced labor. The man, Ibrahim Sane from Brikama, said the unit's head, Gorgin Boob, beat him on his private parts, leaving him with serious pain when urinating. The police swiftly issued a statement on its official Police Home Magazine Facebook page denying Sane's claims. And of course, a lawyer is being investigated for rape. The Standard has been reliably informed by the police and child welfare officials that a senior lawyer, Wanhame Krubali, has been accused of raping a girl. Sources said the lawyer was invited by police to respond to the allegations against him. The spokesperson of the Gambia Police Force, Superintendent Lamin Jai, confirmed a rape allegation against Mr. Krubali and it is being investigated, he told reporters. Man accuses Gorgin Boob of taking his 250,000 euros. Lamin Kinte, a 32-year-old Gambian based in Italy, has accused anti-crime unit boss Gorgin Boob of refusing to return his 250,000 euros he confiscated from a marabout who hypnotized him. Kinte said when he was coming to the Gambia a few months ago for a business trip, he came with 250,000 euros with the intention of buying an already built house. Man killed in driver's brawl. One person was killed over the weekend in Yorobeli Kunda, Fuladu West region of CRR, in a fight between two drivers over a traffic error. According to sources, a van driver got into a row with a group of apprentices of a truck, accusing each other of dangerous driving. He was quoted as saying when the van driver stopped to address the issue, the apprentices in the truck allegedly started exchanging blows with him and overpowered him. The van driver then reportedly hit one of them with an object believed to be metal and he died on the spot. Assembly debate on Colonel Ndau Njai's proposed appointment. The National Assembly is still considering a proposal made by President Adama Barrow to appoint former Army Commander Njai as Army Advisor. The President wants Njai to serve on the Armed Forces Council to advise the government on security-related matters, but some lawmakers have expressed reservation about his track record as a former Gambian Army Chief, as well as his academic credentials. The matter was referred to a parliamentary committee to examine his credentials, and on Thursday, the committee presented its findings and recommendations to the parliament for a parliamentary debate. That's it for the Standard newspaper. Let's take a look at the point. UDP condemns alleged police brutality, calls for swift action. Let's take a look at that story. The United Democratic Party says it has observed with utter dismay the conduct of the Gambia Police Force anti-crime unit, that extremely serious allegations of torture and police brutality have been levied against Mr. Gorgin Boob by Ibrahima Sane. Mr. Boob, the head of the anti-crime unit, allegedly hit Mr. Sane in his genitals, leaving him with severe pains without any arrest or investigation. The type of wanton cruelty is reminiscent of some of the witness testimonies from the TRRC, the UDP said. That's it for the newspapers. Let's go for a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. The Director of Health Promotion and Education, Modunjai, has told the FATU network that Gambians cannot afford to be complacent during these trying times. His remarks came following a dramatic increase in the number of coronavirus cases in the country. Let's watch. In recent weeks, the Gambia have witnessed a surge in the number of coronavirus cases in the country. As of Saturday, we stand at 205 active cases and have registered 6 deaths in the country. And today we sit down with the Director of Health Promotion and Education, Mr. Modunjai, to ask some questions. Mr. Njai, my first question to you is, how did we get here to this stage?
Thank you very much, Sajo, and thank you for coming here. We really reached to this stage. For me, it might be surprise to many, and to many it has been predicted that our peak period might be between June, July, and then that is what we are also experiencing because of one, there's an increased number of people traveling, and also increased number of people also who have been coming through the land borders and sea route, like air route. And then that's the airport. When those waves were open, for example, and then people started coming in, and most of the people, when they come in, they're taken to quarantine. And before they start that quarantine period, what we have not been doing before, that is like when people are getting into quarantine, they are not screened at that time. But now that it's mandated, now anybody who comes in will be screened. And when they are screened, and then they will be at quarantine. If they are positive, they'll be taken to the treatment center. So they'll be having at least 2 consecutive tests. That is, before they also complete their quarantine, they'll also be screened again and they tested. And then if they're also negative, then they are discharged and then go to their families. Perhaps we have also strengthened our screening because some time ago we started seeing number of cases increasing when we did the mass testing in Bakau. I think you are aware of that. And then again, we started moving on. We started engaging communities. We started the sensitization. More and more people build the interest to come and test voluntarily. And as a result of many people coming forward for testing, it's also giving us at least a yardstick as to where we are. And that is why we have seen this increase in the number of cases, because many people are also responding to the testing. And this is done on a voluntary basis. We've also realized that certain people with the belief that the disease doesn't exist, and we have done a series of campaigns around that. We've also done engagement with borderland communities for them to be able to strengthen border surveillance, and as well as also strengthen community-based surveillance. This has also been done, and when all these activities have been done, people also started coming up, realize the need for them to go to testing, and also realize the need for them to adhere to the precautionary measures. We have also realized that there is a rise in the behaviors of people in terms of, most specifically, hand washing. People have been washing hands with soap on a regular basis. At the beginning of the pandemic, people were so serious about it.
But as time goes
on, people went into the level of relapse. And then, oh yeah, it's a disease, oh, we are used to it. So people feel that they are used to this and they are used to the messages. And then that is why many people in many communities, we have not seen the hand washing stations being functional. We've also not seen many people practicing hand washing with soap. So this could be another contributing factor. We also realized that at the beginning of the pandemic, the public health, the health emergency regulation was passed and it was adhered to at the beginning. But as time goes on, people did not tend to adhere to the regulation. And then we witnessed series of programs that festivals, marriage ceremonies, naming ceremonies, ongoing at both the urban and the rural areas. And that has also brought in concerns, and then people started interacting. People were not observing physical or social distancing. And then at the time, people were also not putting on masks. And as we move on, we also see a surge in the cases.
Number of cases.
We've also realized that at the beginning of the pandemic, health workers were not affected. And now that health workers have been affected, and some of them have the virus, it also triggering many people also to come back forward, many health workers and non-health workers now, to come forward to do the testing. Perhaps this is why we are seeing this number of cases over this 20 days period, where we had registered over 90% of our cases within this period, and I think an increase in the number of cases.
These are really scary and complicated times.
Yeah.
There seems to be panic going on
Yeah.
In the community.
Yeah.
But people continue to show this lackluster attitude towards this pandemic. But this is a time we cannot afford to be complacent.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
We know there is a bit of panic and fear among certain community members in certain localities. Because what we have seen now coming is the issue of local transmission or community transmission. I mean, transmission of about 90% of the people who got the virus within the last 2-3 days were linked to, we are not linked to any travel, I would say.
So
because
these are basically all
these are
local
people who, they've not gone anywhere, they've not traveled, and they have no history of travel for the past days or weeks or months, and then they had the virus. So that's a concern. And then what we are trying to say is that that is where we need to do more, and that is what is causing more panic among some people. Because we were not expecting that large number of community transmission cases. But it has happened. What do we do? At the beginning, it has been a challenge to get people to accept or to adhere to our messages. It has also been a challenge to convince people to practice physical distancing or social distancing, and also to put on masks. We've also seen an instance where one person will wear the mask, go out to the public, do the business, and come back and put that mask down. Another person who wants to go out will also use the same mask.
These are things that we
also
cannot
seen
do.
that. So we are now saying one mask, one individual for any time you are going out, and if you can even have 2 masks or 3, so that you can also be able to clean this mask. And if you wash it and dry it, kindly iron it, at least to make it more safe for you when you wear it. That's the message we have been sending out. But we have seen a similar thing like that. And Sergio, you'll bear me witness that if you go out now, you see different types of masks. Some you don't even know what are they putting on, and those are not masks, because you see that some of them will put on very thick materials. Some will even have nylon or sort of, and we are encouraging at least cotton. At least, if you don't have the surgical mask and you want to go in for locally made mask, we are encouraging people to use cotton. That has some sort of holes that can also allow you to breathe at least normally. It may not be 100% normal in the breathing, but at least can be better than a material that has been thick enough. That can even obstruct your breathing, and it can also result to
it can cause further complications for asthmatic patients.
So we are really encouraging people to look for advice, go to the Standard Bureau or contact health workers around you to advise you as to what type of material to be used. We have all witnessed it together, that we have seen the number of cases. Sergio, as of Saturday, we registered 61 new cases. 61 new cases. That is scary. And the highest ever reported number of cases in the country on Saturday.
So the state of public emergency has elapsed?
It has elapsed. And it has been, eased for that matter.
It has been eased.
And then now it's been replaced with the Public Health Dangerous Infectious Disease Protection Regulation 2020.
And cases are still increasing as the days go.
Exactly.
And these are all locally transmitted. This is a scary question, but Mr. Njai, what are we looking at here? Could this get worse?
If we don't change our strategy if we don't change our behaviors, if we don't change the way we think about COVID, we are going to see a dangerous trend, an unpleasant trend in COVID-19. We're going to witness the number of cases of COVID to be increased, and most likely, if we don't change our behaviors also, we might see a surge in the number of community transmission, and that's going to be the biggest fear. So that's why I'm saying I am positive, and I'm also convinced that the public will adhere to our messages. Because knowing the number of cases being increased, like for example, at some point we had about 31 cases, the following day we had 46 cases, and then the other day we had 61 cases. That is scary. So that is also, ringing a bell in all of us to say that we need to tighten our belts. Mm-hmm. We need to strengthen our strategies. We also need to be focused in our intervention. We need to ensure that people put on masks at all times, wherever you are going, for example, in public. We need to ensure that people practice physical distancing. We also need to ensure that we continue the practice of hand washing with soap and water at regular times. And then also we need to know when we go out what we need to touch. Mm-hmm. Surfaces, the virus can stay in the surfaces. We know that for some time. Mm-hmm. So it's important that we are mindful as to what materials do we touch, and if we touch them, we need to go back immediately. Either we have sanitizers with us, or we look for water and soap to wash our hands. In my view, Sergio, I think if we do all these activities and all these strategies, within the next 3 weeks, we strengthen our strategy, we tighten our belts, we listen to the messages coming from the Minister of Health and partners. I think we can be able to flatten the curve. Mm-hmm. But my fear is we are getting into the Eid, and people will travel from the urban area to the rural areas. This is the time
we are going to witness the highest rate of internal migration in the country.
That is where my fear is.
Are you worried about that?
And I'm worried about it. And my advice, my candid opinion to brothers and sisters, family members, my children, daughters, I want to advise that people in the urban area need not to travel to the rural areas to at least to witness the Eid. Simply because you don't know who is traveling from the urban area to the rural area. We don't know who has the virus. Many people are asymptomatic. They are not showing any signs and symptoms.
Which is even the worst, because...
And then it could be the worst. And they will not be known, they will not have possessed any signs and symptoms.
While and then they continue carrying on and transmitting to other people.
And that is my fear. And I would want to advise candidly for people to relax. Those going to the provinces, just for now. It may not be a longer period.
So now
in the next 3 weeks. But the people who are going, I want to advise that let them relax.
To probably
stay around until the epidemiologists, the surveillance team are also doing their work, and they're studying the situation, and they'll get back to us as to what advice we can do. That is my advice for now. I'm sure it may be a difficult advice for people to take, but that is the advice I want to give for now, and I think people will listen to us. We have been frank to each other over the months, and the communities, we have been listening to them, and they have been listening to us, and we appreciate. Anytime we have programs, they call in to give us their opinions, and we respected those opinions and suggestions. And most of the activities we are implementing is as a result of the suggestions coming from the community members. So meaning that we have high regard to their opinions, and we also want to appeal to them to listen to us on this, especially at this crucial moment, where we need to listen to each other so that we can be able to contain the virus. It is not easy, Sergio, to see our own colleagues going through the pain of the virus. I mean, they are currently admitted. Some of them are in the various locations. The day we reported the 46 new cases, almost 17 to 18 of our staff are from this very building. So it was not an easy task for us.
These are people who are in the front line trying to
These are people who are working, protecting the people.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the ones that are the link between us and the people. And they are the ones going working directly with the public community. And these are the people who are helping us to collect the samples. These are people who are communicating, who are doing the contact tracing, who are doing the rapid response. This is where we have our challenges. So we want to advise the public just to listen to us for now, for the next 2-3 weeks, and we'll see what will happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And finally, before I let you go, Mr. Njai, the state of public emergency has been eased, like you said.
Yep.
It is normal. But something that felt like a bitter battle between the executive and parliament, we have to extend. It should not be because, for whatever reasons. As someone who has been in the front line and as a health personnel, what is your opinion on whether the state of public emergency should be brought back?
Sajo, the regulation, the Public Health Act or the Public Health Regulation protecting the public from infectious or dangerous diseases, even without the state of public emergency, if it is effectively and efficiently implemented, we're going to see positive results. It's talking about isolation, quarantine, protecting the people who refuse to be quarantined, what penalties are there, what can be done by the minister or the health officer, people who jump treatments, people who escape from treatment centers or whatever, what can be done. And the role of the community also is very crucial in this. So for me, the state of public emergency can be brought in. If not, we continue to implement the public health regulation, which really is in line with the state of public emergency regulation. So for me, I think it's just a matter of protecting the population. The state of public emergency is out to protect the population. The health of the population is the interest of the state. And that's why the state decided to put up that measure to ensure that people are protected. So therefore, the state of public emergency regulation is there to help the people. And then when it started newly, people were avoiding crowds. There were no programs. But when it was lifted, it was just like, wow.
Business as usual.
Business as usual. That was what we could see. And that was where we started having problems when it was lifted. Remember the day it was lifted? We had some new cases. About almost 46 cases a day. That was what we reported.
And it has been increasing.
It has been increasing since then. 46, 61. We don't know. That of yesterday, on Sunday, we have about 30 cases or so. And today, added to it, we might have about 50 or so. I'm not very sure. But we'll get the details in the next 2-3 hours.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much,
This is what we need to do. Yeah.
Thank you very much for granting us this interview. That's the Director of Health. Welcome back. A little over a week, the Gambia police was being celebrated after a hero police officer was captured controlling traffic under heavy rainfall. And today there is outrage from Gambians both home and abroad after a young man was allegedly tortured by the head of the police anti-crime unit, Gorgimbub. And today our special guest is Ali Baba Killer is a charm artist and and known activist in the country who has actually lived through this experience. Welcome to the Fatu Network News Review, Claire Ace.
Thank you so much, Sanjo.
How does how does your experience resonate with Ibrahima's story?
Well, come the mo he si go gotta go rek. Dem na anti-crime Monday. Mos na sent gel B, heti 7C cell B, tanga mel ni hel ni, choy indecent pipe yi, et yi accent belt yi, hard labor boometi, taxi do leka lu healthy. So lolu, bumako wasa, it wasn't just about my situation. Why? Bumafo duge, yenen yusi, you ma gisi sen situation, lola fawa. Te lolu do just Ibrahima. Why? I'm like so many hundreds of youths yo hamantane. Then go through that situation where yalla hina dafa def amun voice wala hamun the means to fight for their rights come hina me or Ibrahima can understand why when I went to anti-crime unit St. Camp I realized and saw firsthand youth who were detained, some for more than 3 days, youth who were getting beaten. First thing they do in the morning when they wake up as detainees is they go clear the fields. On everything I love, they go clear the fields. And then after, like, they clear the fields up to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they come and give them a small bowl of food with only 1 kobo on it for like 60 people to eat. So it's real and it's been happening since a long time ago, even before Killer Ace, before Ibrahima. And the $1 million question is, how long must it last for? It's not new.
So the question is, because nobody didn't fucking come Lee, nekut lo xamne dafa nekk di happen because Gambia bu ñëwé es dañ ne okay new dispensation mo ñëw so yi nga xamne mu ngi doon xew xejna ci previous regime bi ñu bare ngay wax ne there is no space for that to happen right now in this present time bu nekk ni ñu bare tamit dañoo gëna ci naan okay look, we have to protect our country. Sacha yang si bir deka bi so góor gi mbu lu nekk di def is just something that he has to do because he is protecting this country basically. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, what I'm saying, come at the end of the day, you want to understand why can be good crimes in the crime then go fight. That's why we have the police, we have the security forces, we have the military, etc. for security. What would can bull definitely as security man, but do it in the way that you're supposed to, with dignity, with respect, and with rule of law. Anti-crime when you are the lead terrorize nini. When you man let Japan to Aisha want to gain in tele ak Aisha Parker. Why see digger what they do to the ghetto youth and what they do to the ordinary Gambian under custody and whilst they're doing their operations is total dictatorship. They all know some pick up 20 people, mask, fetal, param, yobula, arrest la, birim, no hala, ngay jema dangal sa ñu bimagum la. So what I can do I'm telling you some real life situation and it's been happening in front of Gambians. So if we say that we don't see this, understand it really baffles me like as a Gambian we see what they do. We see how anti-crime come just go to any police station, pick out any person and take them anywhere without the case not even being in their jurisdiction. We've been seeing all of this happening over the years. We've seen Usman Dabo exactly 1 year ago. It's been alleged that he was tortured and killed at anti-crime. Nobody paid a deaf ear. Everybody played a deaf ear after that. So this has been recorded. It's been in the eyes of the Gambians. But the problem is, when it's time to speak the truth, I believe that it should not be like something that people should cherry pick. Once the truth is the truth, like don't try not to defend the truth because it doesn't favor you at that particular moment. What is wrong is wrong. Gorgimbu, all of those people that the anti-crime unit have victimized are all Gambians. In prison, in Mile 2, I've seen someone who was sent to prison for idling, walking around Westfield, and he was sent to Mile 2 for idling. During my court case, I've seen so many youth who were just dumped into the courthouse. And those who did not have a privileged lawyer or whatever would just go straight into prison without due process, without the right to, all of these things. And this is all orchestrated by somebody who has a record of lying to people, of stealing from people, and somebody who has a record of operating like as a mob. Since Talinding police station, if you know Gorgi Mboob, he's not new to you. So it brings back the question, why should former perpetrators who played a part in making this country a mess be reinstated again in this new Gambia in the first place?
So who you think that even the police force is involved in empowering people like Gorgi Mboob?
It's not just the police force, even the media, even the media played a major force. Everybody played a major force, because if we rose up ever since we heard that these things were going on as a people to condemn Gorgui Mbub and say that we don't want somebody like this in a position of power, we want somebody more capable, he wouldn't have been here today.
So déggee ne tey ñu ngi jooy di wax naan never again, like you xewoon fii warut fee xewaat, those things that happened that took place in the Gambia, they should never happen again, but then you still find people like Gorgui Mbub in the system.
In the system.
How do you see that?
It's just sad, and that's not what we fought for. Like, as Gambians collectively, everybody fought in their own way to bring change, not just Yaya Jammeh Barrow, but change in everything. And if you look at the security, we have a lot of good officers out there who are capable, who are good serving citizens, who have the experience, who are even more intelligent than Go. And why would you reshuffle the old people that messed up the system? So that's the million-dollar question I think you journalists should go ask the people in power who put these people in these positions.
Do you feel like you've been vindicated? Because I feel like the anti-crime unit has been brought to the attention of the people after you had your runnings with them. When you came out actually and had those issues with them, people said a lot of things. Like, okay, you know what, you just need to keep it quiet. You're an attention seeker. Attention and stuff like that. But now that it is happening to people, brothers, sisters, like, do you feel vindicated?
Am I not everybody else's brothers? Like, or, you know, but I mean, it's not even about me being vindicated. Like, this is what I do for a passion, this is what I do for a love, and whatever I do, I say it from the heart because I live it and I feel it. It's always going to be the truth. So no matter how long or whatever like people do to try to push that truth, understand that. And whether or not I'm vindicated or not, I've said many things that I've always been vindicated for, but I don't want us to go through that process of always having to be vindicated. No, let's start a new chapter as Gambians. Okay, I'm vindicated. Now let's move forward to fight something is affecting us as Gambian brothers and people. Understand what I mean? From now, moving forward, man, understand that. Parce que ñu ma doon saaga di ma xas di ma dis xam nga miin naa ko personally time Yaya Jammeh ko bokk si géete gi dañ ma daan saaga di ma traité di ma xas bu ma demee mile two sax dañ ma daan wax ne it's good for you ñeneen but I don't know, do ma move whatsoever. What's important is that Gorgui Mbub and the anti-crime moo nekkoon suma agenda pour expose them, and alhamdulillah we managed to expose them, whether nit ñi den nangu wala nit ñi nanguwun at that particular moment, but am the impact in exposing him ba affaire si war a mun a àgg si another level. And alhamdulillah. Just
before you start program, Bini, I think the chief editor told me that there is news out there and they can suspend right now. Do you think that is enough?
No, suspend. Okay, I commend the move. If it's true, I commend the move because at least that's a step forward, and at least that would be a signal to any other person in position of power. You serving the people. So, but it's still not enough. It's not just Gorgui Mbub, it's a system. We need to make sure that we remove all of those who are not capable to lead Gambians whatsoever. I mean, look at all of the encounters with the police in Gambia. All of them could have been avoided, from protests to the tear gas, to all of that could have been avoided. But since we have so many men in uniform that are not trained or are not capable for certain positions, that's our problem. So we need to clean the system. All perpetrators and everybody who had played a part or even had one thrust yesterday in bringing this country down during the Yaya Jammeh's era should have no space to even lead anything in this new Gambia whatsoever.
Do you think the anti-crime unit should be disbanded?
Anti-crime unit, the headquarters, it should be disbanded, and we build a youth center there where all of these robbers and these so-called thieves can come and learn something so that they would not be in that negative energy and become something positive where they would not be robbers and thieves like Gorgui Mbub and everybody's actually trying to say. You feel what I'm saying? So let's disband anti-crime. All of these petty anti-crime officers from Job to Cisse to all of those, I know them, we were set up on our market together. All of those petty officers, and everybody coming forward as police should be reformed, should be trained on communication with the public, on arrest procedures. I mean, people get arrested and don't even follow the arrest procedures. You are under arrest for this or that. They don't tell you that. So these are all things that we need change within the system. And it's not just Gorgui Mbub, but it's a whole bunch of Gorgui Mbubs. Go to different police stations. You see how many different SOs are in many different police stations, detaining different young people. denying them their rights, letting them sleep next to piss and shit. And it's happening. And should that exist in the New Gambia?
No, it shouldn't. And what is your message to the Gambian people, particularly those who, called you names when you first came out to say that this is what is happening with the police anti-crime unit? Because everybody thought you're just seeking attention, like just go away and then stop. Attention. But today we have seen the same people to actually condemn them. Those kinds of people.
I'm always gonna be here. Small way demba, small way tay. Dengan adam fekk ma fi, dengan ma romba fekk ma fi at the end of the day. And balal na ñom ñep ñu ma doon saga, ñu ma doon wax nonsense yep. Balal na len because of struggle becomes with that. Because we are fighting in a country where one peregun as people si suñu boppa. Understand nga lo mean? And so we say dëkk bi them to this level is because of people like that. Who, when people like me and the rest of the movement were fighting against police brutality, were the same people clapping for the system back then, when those same people who were clapping for the system...
Yeah, I remember even when it came to the Dafadoy protest and stuff, they were like, you all are just a bunch of, kids who have nothing going on in your lives.
History is right here. But then at the end of the day, that's the same reason why Yaya Jammeh was in power, because he knew how to manipulate, divide, and conquer the scrambled Gambian mind. You feel what I'm saying? And then what a gumda, and I believe now, like, as Gambians, we go meda, ñu xamné dëkk bi du dëkki kenn bàyyi kenn moomul ko dëkk bi du dëkki political party du dëkki kay du dëkki kële dëkk bi ñëpp si am seen wàll te dañ war a ànd put away some differences yi understand nga especially when it comes to truth put away differences yi ñu ànd si dëgg. You feel what I'm saying? Why just because you don't like Killer Ace doesn't mean that Killer Ace dëgg bu moo wax war loo ko consume.
You should focus on the message.
That's what I'm saying. And this song Go Gotta Go, it's not played on the radio. Like radio, you can play sucker DJs, you body are scared to, or don't want to play it. You can play other nonsense songs on radio, whilst there's a song that is addressing the youth matters in the country on a real serious level. Play. So
it's a whole different scenario, because I know that this rapper YG actually wrote a song. It's called F the Police, and I know that it plays all over the radios in the United States. So it's a different case scenario. So maybe it all comes down to the system. Then you play this kind of song, they might shut us down and things like that.
Well, then why did we fight Yaya Jammeh out if you're going to live in a democracy and still be a coward and still be a chicken? Then who are you for your country if you don't have that courage to continue the struggle that you actually fought for? Like, if companies, institutions, radios, police, media is being used to control propaganda, then we're back in the same Yaya Jammeh era where Jammeh used media and stuff to control propaganda. Then where's the change that we were fighting for? Meaning that we are the ones who are actually putting ourselves in that mess.
What is your message to the Gambian people? But particularly to the police?
No, like I always clarify this. Like Tupac said, I don't hate police. I just hate the bad ones. You feel what I'm saying? The bad ones in society.
There are good cops and there are bad ones.
There's the good cops and the bad cops. You feel what I'm saying? But what I want to say from the Minister of Interior, like I told him, hey, IGP and the Ministry of Interior, human rights violations, this is really serious. Your men operate like they go in the war in Syria. Jamono Jammeh yi ñoo taxoon boy away Libya. Gorgi Mboob, yade boob ak sa torture team. Safara bi yaa ko taal. You gonna enjoy the steam. Nga am tuuti rank rek nga foog ne you're the king. Fàtte woon April 10, 11. Li nga defoon St. Augustine's. Message boobu la amoon mooy ne police officer yi nekk foofu noonu si waar yi. And I feel sorry for the junior officers because of even man si suma scenario yi ak lu ma coy di stop yëpp di nga gis ñaar ñetti officer that really have compassion, but they just don't have like the level to do anything about it. Understand that? They say they help you out in ways underground, but understand. So you have the good ones there, but we are being ruled by a majority of thieves, corrupt, and no mercy police officers. You have to come in the Gorgimbu, ko hamantene come. Dafa wara wacha. So watch you take. Digen degane Gorgimbu. Dafa tina lelen lu gëna graw li. Xam nga degane fi Ousmane Dabo. Bala Ousmane Dabo Killer Ace. I nearly died. Then my pepper spray 13 officers di ma door di ma timpa ba ma dee ba ma bugg a dee Ousmane Dabo it's real shit. Then ko fi door after you buy ko mu dee 1 year later, exactly 1 year later, Ibrahima Sane a ngi nii xale bu ndaw bad boy so pako bi su ko gisee nga xam ne kii dafa flex nga ko téye di ko tóor si cëram boo xamante ne foofu la war a amee doom xam nga participate ci national development. Understand nga yow ñun as Gambians war nañoo seetaan ku mel ni kooku ak ñeneen ak ñeneen ak ñeneen ñu nga xamante ne ñu ngi bokk si network am bi pour ma wax la benn secret cappa nga ordinary police officers yi don't even like anti-crime because of anti-crime bu gars yi ñëwee they have more power than any other police because if you're the SO of Serekunda police I anti-crime can come do what I want to do in your police station to the happen. So they're like the junglers, they're like the bulldozers.
No, that's what I want to say. It's
they're like the junglers, they're like the bulldozers. Look at my encounter when they arrested me. They took me to 5 different places, like I'm a terrorist, or like I'm a, like, you know what I'm saying, for something I didn't even do. So should we sit and watch that? Or should we just wait until we become victims? What should we do?
That sounds the Gambian people. Thank you very much, Killer Ace, Alibaba Ace Cham. Thank you very much for coming.
What I just wanted to say to the media, though, because I believe you guys have a responsibility, and you guys are one of the main reasons why I believe a lot of stuff are happening. Because since the
you're not gonna leave without this shit, are you?
Oh, of course, I have. Oh, without this shit. So
it's, okay,
it's been years. Digging in Rehab, from Fatu Network to anybody else. Musna fe ñew sax lu nga wax ne gaay mako def sax seen own journalist den mako def. Lamine Jai talk now mom muy jema defend guy di wax ne I'm a troublemaker, you always in trouble ni. You understand? So if that's coming from our top journalists, from our top media houses, what do you expect the ordinary Gambians to think like? Because of you guys lead the people. So I believe that you guys have a major responsibility.
But even Lamin believes that you've been vindicated today.
Because he has no other option, and it shouldn't have been like that. I should have been vindicated since day one. You shouldn't have to take another person's, like, you know, nuts, you know, for me to get vindicated. I'm not happy about that. You know what I'm saying? So media has a major role to play in making sure we keep government accountable and make sure that we defend our democracy as you are the mouthpiece. And make sure y'all respect that, man. If not, we're going back to the old days, y'all.
Thank you very much, Ish. Thank you very much. Let's go for a break and then we'll be right back.
Imagine owning a home or service plot, enjoying the sunrise and sunset from a beautiful garden, morning hugs and beautiful moments with your loved ones, the never-ending stories, beautiful memories that will last a lifetime, making and sharing great moments with family and friends. You can turn this into a reality. All you need is a tough home. Imagine owning a home or service plot, enjoying the sunrise and sunset from a beautiful garden, morning hugs and beautiful moments with your loved ones, the never-ending stories, beautiful memories that will last a lifetime, making and sharing great moments with family and friends. You can turn this into a reality. All you need is a tough home.
Welcome back. And now Gambian students in Morocco on a government scholarship accuse the government of the Gambia of abandoning and letting them fend for themselves amidst coronavirus pandemic. Fatou Camara tells us more.
Now, amid the coronavirus pandemic, the government of the Gambia have promised students outside the Gambia that there is a relief package for the students. But then we've been hearing so much information about this state relief package. However, we are joined today by Baba Landing Jaju. He's a student studying in Morocco. Welcome, Mr. Baba.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you. Baba, do you mind telling us how far the students in Morocco are being with the SAID relief package?
Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I want to start with this SAID relief package was made mention earlier in April, but I will say the situation is still the same with students abroad. Till date, as I'm speaking to you, no one has heard anything positive from the government or from the Ministry of Higher Education. And the situation is still the same. All we're hearing about are just stories, different stories. Until date, nothing positive has come out from it. And as a concerned student, I thought that it's high time we all stand up as students, so our voices can be heard, and also for us, for the government or the Minister of Higher Education to come out and speak to us as students to make us understand what is going on, and to parents as well and guardians back home and to the public, what exactly has gone wrong with the above said since in April. So with that, I stand firm to be here today to speak about it.
Okay. Do you people engage the government, let's say the Ministry of Higher Education?
Yeah, I would say yes. We for us Moroccan students, we have an association, whereas we have our president. So with this relief package that was said earlier, they tried everything to make sure that they fast track everything going on, but then nothing comes out of it. Since they sent in a list, whereas people to have all our details put on paper for them. After that, we have not heard anything from them, and all that we received from them was that the package was just meant for a single person or a single student out of 200. So that brought about so much concern, because out of all the students, how can a single person receive it? And there's nothing said about it. What made it be like what way that only a single person is gonna receive the out of the lot?
Okay.
So,
And
okay, go on, go on.
okay. And another thing is we've received information that government scholarship students that are outside the Gambia are facing so many challenges. Is this true?
Yeah, this is something true and something going on. Yeah, like this saying goes, who feels it knows it. But then these are things that we students are not ready to come out and talk about them. The reasons I can tell. But I, for one, I know that there are a lot of things going on and there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of challenges that we need to make the government know about it and make the Minister of Higher Education know about them and how best they can help us, because we really need help, because some challenges are there. All that they can do is help our students out, and that things can get better for us. But there are a lot of challenges that we are faced with as international students outside.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing some of these challenges?
Yeah, like I will start with this, because sometimes I feel that maybe our Minister of Higher Education that is responsible for all the scholarship packages and all that, they don't actually understand or know what exactly is in the package that is brought to them saying that it's a scholarship. I feel that they just take group of people and take them to these particular countries without knowing what the package involves. And when the students get there, they start facing challenges. Such challenges such as, because now we have, like we all know, we have passed that stage, whereas every single country teaches their own very language. And these are challenges that we are faced with. And two, like in the case of Morocco, you can't tell a student that you're going for a scholarship, and the next minute you find yourself renting. All right, I don't think there's any scholarship package that involves students going outside to rent. Why is all that so? Is it that the government does in order to well orient the students before leaving their parents and coming outside to struggle? I believe this: if you have to struggle in your home than going outside to struggle in somebody else's country. All right, because
Yeah.
back home,
Mhm.
despite the struggle, despite whatsoever you're going through, you'll obviously have help. But in
Yeah.
the outside, and the main challenges that we are faced with so much financial difficulties. Why?
Mhm.
Because these packages that we receive, the stipend that we get from these countries cannot even sustain us.
Mhm.
It can sustain us a little bit. If you are not financially strong, you struggle. And that should not be the case. You don't have to be financially strong in order to pursue your courses in a state scholarship. I say no to that. Then I believe something is wrong somewhere, which our government and the Ministry of Higher Education need to sit back and look into in order to help students coming from the Gambia to these various countries. and they are faced with challenges, which I think actually it's something that they really need to look into. It's not only Morocco. We have there are a lot of countries out there they need to look at, let them sit back and look and fast track students in every country that they are, be it Egypt, Algeria, Kenya. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. We are all faced with so many challenges. Despite, I know one thing with the scholarship packages, like coming for the way, then tane one tere, right? Tane one te buno, sinko wale gini, so ko wale be horse tane one te. It's all the same problem. Yeah. So the government really needs to help.
Yeah, are you saying that the government will package the students and dump them in these countries and then forget about them? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'll categorize it being that, because as a student, you are like, you come from the Gambia, you have a scholarship, and still you are faced with challenges that they know, like they have no idea about. Then that brings in this question: what exactly is going on with them? Because at the first place, they are the very pay attention to you. Something definitely is wrong. I see it to be that. Why? It's like taking someone and dumping you, talking about you. Because if they are living there, how life is going on with you, how studies is going on with you, then definitely something is wrong.
Okay.
And that it's all just the same, like taking someone and dumping them there. You as a student, you will find yourself in a situation whereas even when you explain to your parents, they cannot understand. You explain to people, they cannot understand. Because why? What they know scholarship, like what they know about scholarships, it's a different situation that you find yourself. Then what exactly is going on? Then something is there. Or is it that the packages that are involved, they know them, but they fail to orient the students, or they have no idea about? Then that is something that they need to put a question mark on and try to drive to an answer, because definitely that is really needed.
So many students have tried to reach out to talk to us and let us know about what is going on, but then they do not want anybody to know about their identity. And in your case, for example, one would say your president should be the one to come out and talk to us, but he did not. Okay, now my question is, what made you feel the need to come out and speak on behalf of all the students that are outside the country? What really motivates you to do this?
Yeah, and thank you very much for that question. I feel that I personally affected problems. Yeah, I feel at the end of the day, as Gambians, we are all Gambians. Yeah, if we all live in better, then it's the betterment for every single person, every single Gambian. All right, I might not be affected. I might not. I'm not 100% affected, or even 50% affected. But there are people out there 75 or even 100% affected, but then they are not here to speak out. They are not here to, lay down their problems. But maybe the consequences are what they are putting in front of them, rather than the positivity in what exactly they are standing firm on. With me, that's the motivation I had. That is, I have to put in the positivity first, then anything that comes next. Because this is for our own good. The government is helping, and we credit them for that, and we say thank you so much for that, and we really appreciate it. But the government can do better. They can do more. The ministry can do better. They can do more. Might be even maybe the ongoing problems is not to their attention. But then if it is brought to their attention, then things might get better for us and every single person, wherever you find yourself outside. Right? So I think this is exactly what should be done. Since an opportunity is there for one to speak up and your voice is to be heard, I believe there should be only positivity, and inshallah it's only positivity that's going to come out from it. Okay, that's the reason why I'm here.
Yeah, what message do you have for the Gambia government, let's say the ministry, for example?
Yeah, for the Ministry of Higher Education, in regards to the relief package, I believe every single student, we all have this in mind, that it's not a force that we need, that the money should come. And we are not saying that it's a force that the government will give us the said money, or what was said earlier on TV about the relief package. It's not a force, but we felt that we are being misled. our parents, the public, why the student name is being used on something that was said on TV, and they made everyone believe that this is so. One, I want to let the public know that we have not received the relief package as was said, and also I will say that like what they said has never been fulfilled. It has never been fulfilled. Some students did receive the package, but some did not. And it has come to attention that said by the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Higher Education that there was miscommunication, and he accepted that this is a mistake. But then this brings in a question mark. If it's a mistake, I believe that shouldn't take long for it to be corrected, right? That it takes it goes through a lot of protocols, like it involves a lot of government bodies that lay hand on this money before it is even been signed. So if there's any mistake, I believe they need to come together and clarify that message and make it clear to the people, to the students outside, and clarify everything that this is what went wrong, or this is what we thought after all that we aired on radios and on TV, that this is what happened, and for that reason, that's why the situation is like this.
Okay.
Like all we need is just transparency. Let everything be clear. Like we let the truth be served. That's all we want right now. We want clarifications, nothing more. Whether the money comes or not, we can't do anything about the money coming. It's not a force, but we need clarifications. Our name was used, international students, both private and government-sponsored students. So that's the reason why we're here, because they named us in, and for that reason, I believe we have rights to ask about the whereabouts of the money. Thank you.
Okay, Baba, thank you very much. And that's it. That was Baba Landinjaju, a student studying in Morocco, talking about the government's failed relief package as it was promised. Thank you very much. Now, amid the